Well, hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to Highwayman Trucking and My Way on the Highway. As in the title of this video, I want to talk about your heater not working and possibly a quick fix for you that's free and will get you by. So about 2 months ago, my wife and I were first starting out in the cold of winter. We were a couple of weeks into our trip, and everything had worked perfectly up until this point, but the heater started blowing cold air. Just had it off, turned it back on, and it was blowing cold air. The blower was working fine, everything was adjusted properly, you know, the AC button was off, the whole 9 yards. Now my back heater was working perfect. It is a separate bunk heater, and so obviously it's independent of the front. But the front one wasn't working, and I was like, man, heater's broken. We're coming into a snowstorm. We need the defrost. This is a big deal, you know. And I was in the middle of nowhere at the time, barely got reception, and I was trying to Google things. I couldn't really find anything out. You know, one person talked about the blend door actuator and that you need to replace that. And that made me remember a pickup truck that I had bought. I bought a brand new pickup truck years ago, and I was taking it from Arizona back to the oil fields in West Texas, and there happened to be a snowstorm in New Mexico. And I needed the defrost bad at that particular point. And so I Googled it. Well, this pickup truck had issues with the blend door actuator, which was under the hood. And so I stopped, and you know, they said you need to replace it. I'm thinking, that's the middle of the night, I can't replace this. And so I just started banging on the dang thing, and eventually it switched over and the heater worked fine. And it actually worked fine for years after that. I never had to mess with it again. Basically, the blend door has a valve inside that switches from hot to cold, and it had gotten stuck. Whether it was gummed up, whatever, I don't know, but it had gotten stuck. And so tapping on it had actually fixed the problem for good, and I never had that problem again, never had to replace it. So I thought to myself, I wonder if that's the same problem with this big truck. Actually, it was my wife who was with me at the time that says, I bet you it's that part. And so we stopped and went out, and it was easier with two people, I'll tell you that. It was easier with two people, because what I did is I found out where the blend door actuator was. I've read in some trucks it's in the dash, some it's over in the dash behind the glove box, but for me, both times, and on this truck, which is a 2014 Kenworth T660 with the Cummins ISX motor, it's actually on the passenger side underneath the hood in a very easy to locate spot, very easy spot to be able to replace it. But being where I was at, you know, there was no hope of a new part and whatnot. So I found it, and I went out there and I tapped on it and my wife sat in here with the hot and cold, and she was adjusting the knobs back and forth. Lo and behold, the heater came on. It worked perfectly. Had a couple of times where it went off, and I went out there and I tapped it again, and it would work fine. It never went off while it was on heat. It went off when we'd switch it to AC and then back to heat. And it actually worked well for over a month, and to the point where I needed to go buy the part. The part for this truck's about $125. It's an easy fix. I just didn't buy the part, and I honestly forgot about it. And like I said, it was working fine. It would switch back and forth, no problem. But today, I woke up, and it's a little chilly here in Utah, and I want to turn my heater on for a second. Well, lo and behold, it was not working. And because my wife's always right, and she told me to make a video about this, I'm going to show you exactly where it's at on my truck and how I tap on it and so forth. And you can do it by yourself. Don't get discouraged, because it may take some time. Now, I'm going to shut my truck off, but when you're doing this, you want your truck on. I'm going to do that strictly for the purposes of sound quality, being out there showing you where it's at and talking about it. But come along outside and I'll show you where it's at. Bear with the noise, because there is a truck next to me that's running. But I'm going to get in here and show you exactly where the blend door actuator is at on this truck. And it's right there. It's this plastic piece. Oops, a little hot in there. I usually have my gloves on. But it's the plastic piece right there behind these hoses. So I'm going to put a glove on so I can show you a little better. There's a better shot of it. And again, these are all hot right now. But mine is actually loose, as you can see. And from what I can deduce, one of the clamps broke that holds it in place. And that may have been why it's jiggled around and broken a little bit. But all I've done is grab this line and done that to it, and it'll switch back over to the heat. And again, you can replace this line. There's probably, I believe there's 3 hoses that go into it, an electrical connection. And yeah, it's kind of a pain. You got to move a couple hoses to get to it, but it's fairly easy to replace. But again, all I've done is shake it like that, and it will switch back over to heat for you. And that's a good, quick fix if you're in a jam and need that defrost. Okay, so I turned my truck back on at the last little portion of that, and wanted to fix mine, jiggled it up a little bit, and got it working perfect. Again, it's not a permanent fix. It may not be the problem for all of you, but it definitely worked for me, and it helped me. And if you're in a position where, you know, you've got severe rain, snow, ice, whatever, and you need that defrost, it's darn near worth a shot. And don't get discouraged, because being one person in the truck is not as easy as when I had my wife in the truck, in the sense that she could flip that dial back and forth inside while I was jiggling it. And then as soon as the heat would come on, you know, she'd be like, thumbs up, it's good. So it'll take a little longer in the sense that you may have to go back and forth a couple of times, but it's definitely worth it. It got me out of a jam. I saved a little money. I didn't have to replace the part yet, although I know I need to. And for $125 and, you know, an hour's worth of my time, it's definitely worth it to replace it. But roadside, without a dealership, not knowing, try it. It might just help you out and save the day. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please subscribe. If you want to be notified of future, ring the bell. Have a blessed day. Be safe out there.